Welcome back to another edition of Music Monday. And this week we are going to switch things up just a tad. So, a lot of the songs that I've been reviewing as of late are in the rap and hip hop category, other than FKA Twigs, because she's more, or at least the genre on Apple for her latest mixtape, Capra Songs, is electronic. This week, we are going to be reviewing a band called Attila. Now, if you guys know anything about Attila, if there's anybody that comes across this video that knows about these guys are cut from a different cloth. So I was exposed to Attila somewhere back in high school. I was working at the first job that I ever had, which was at a restaurant here in Indianola, Iowa called Sports Page, and I was a dishwasher. And I had a coworker, he was a cook, his name is Trent. And I remember coming in for a Saturday morning shift, and he was playing Attila. And these guys have some of the most absurd but hilarious lyrics about partying, fucking bitches, calling girls cunts, all that stuff. And, you know, they got a lot of hate from a lot of people throughout their time as a band. But the one thing that you couldn't deny, it's like they didn't really take themselves too seriously to put out that type of music with that type of content, lyrics, stuff of that nature. And I think it worked for them. I think that that's why they were popular and had a following, because they kind of just fucked around and made the music that they wanted to. And in all honesty, coming from a genre of like metalcore, they actually sounded really good with the music that they made. Franz could kind of rap, but he could also, I don't know if it's screaming, it almost sounds like belting, like coming from his gut, he would just go like, ugh, that type of shit. I don't know what that's called. So there for a while, I actually really liked Attila. I liked their shit. I liked what they put out. I like how they carried themselves. But as time went on, I kind of felt like their music became very redundant. If you're gonna pick that sort of genre, and if that's your calling, if that's what you're gonna rely on, it's like the more music that you make in that certain sector, you can't really branch out because that becomes what you are. And so you have to operate and make music in that slim box. And so I think that was kind of the detriment to Attila, is they couldn't go far outside of the little niche that they created for themselves. And that's a tough thing, being a band, an artist, a musician, doing anything creative, is the thing that gets you known can also be your biggest detriment, because you have to continuously grow. You have to continuously push yourself in different directions if you want to, gain new fans and new following. You got to try different shit. You cannot be just one dimensional. It's not going to work for you in the long term. And then, Franz, because he's kind of the ringleader of the group. He's the singer, the lyrics and all that. And I'm pretty sure he's the guy that kind of started this band and this movement. He, I don't know, at some point he just got a little too cringeworthy for me. I know he went through a divorce with his wife. I think her name was Victoria at the time. And then they had 2 kids. And I don't know, at some point I just lost interest in Attila. But as I was browsing music last week, I came across their newest album. I didn't realize that they released an album back in 2021, and that was in July. So probably, that's like 6, 7, 8 months ago. So anyways, yeah, this is going to be a switch up for me, because more so recently I've been reviewing rap, hip hop, that sort of genre, but I was like, you know what? For for old sake, for old times, I'm gonna go through this album of Attila's and pick a song. So the first song on the album is called Anxiety. And already that kind of gives me some level of intriguement because normally what these guys talk about, like I said, is partying, fucking bitches, taking shots, uh, almost like in some sense anti-Christian, anti-religion. Like they have songs that say like "Party with the Devil," 666, "Party with the Devil, bitch." That's the lyrics that they have. I don't necessarily agree with that because I'm a religious man, but I can appreciate all different aspects, all different types of music. And I will say that these guys, in their discography and the music that they've made, had a little bit of an impact on me. It's not going to be my favorite music of all time, but they got some good shit, and I think it's good to raise that conversation, to talk about different types of music and why do you like that? Why do you gravitate towards that? Because I don't just listen to rap and hip hop. Yes, that is a huge influence in my life, comes from that genre, but it's not all that I listen to. So, without further ado, we're going to get into this song called Anxiety from the band Attila off of their latest album, Closure, which was dropped July 23rd of 2021. So, here we go. Anxiety. Ooh.
It takes the edge off for millions.
It's a tranquilizer prescription drug which is used to treat anxiety.
I'll be on exams and be driving on the highway. I should be dead.
Oh shit. So I don't know. I didn't want to stop the song just because I kind of wanted to hear the whole thing all the way through, and it's what is it? It's 3 minutes and 8 seconds of a song, but it went by very quick. Yeah, the one thing that I would say, because I know Attila, I know their background, I've listened to, pretty much every album that they've ever put out, and because their music can be quite redundant, this is actually quite refreshing for them to talk about a song that might be a little bit more relatable to a wider range of people. I mean, they pulled a sample in there. It sounded like it was from like a news clip, like a news anchor or somebody that was doing a story on anxiety and talking about how it's the most Xanax or whatever is the most prescribed anti-anxiety medication in the US or the world or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it said. But it's a switch up for Attila, because normally, like I said, they focus on partying and fucking bitches and fuck the establishment and fuck what you say. And although that appeals to certain people, especially in their genre, especially in the music that they make, it's kind of refreshing to hear another subject, a different angle, a different point of view. And, I think that brings people in. If it's just Franz, or if it's everybody in the band that's been struggling with anxiety, that's what they're talking about. Did the lyrics go in depth about the anxiety? No, not really. It was more so about how the anxiety made them feel and how that's ruining their day-to-day lives. And, for me, that's important, just because I struggle with anxiety too. I've talked about it a lot on this channel, and I don't mean to harp over the same subject, but at points in my life, anxiety has been, such a constant that it really does take away from the present moment of just enjoying whatever the hell it is that you're doing in your life. And it's an important conversation that we all need to have, because how do you get over an issue if you don't identify what the issue is, if you don't admit that you have a problem or that something is going on? And, that's a hard thing for a lot of people to grip with, just because, again, depending on what their background was growing up, maybe their feelings and their emotions and whatever they were going through, they couldn't identify that because maybe that's something that their parents didn't talk about. And so as they grew up, they suppress their issues, and then their issues start to compile, and that's going to create a lot of anxiety and a lot of frustration and a lot of, friction. And certainly I've been through that battle. That's kind of where my whole mental health issue really took a tank, is I just didn't know how to identify my emotions and work through those issues. And then, I pretty much kind of manifested a huge ass anxiety disorder. And then when I started going to therapy, slowly but surely over time, you become more accepting of what it is that you're battling, the issues that you have, and then you learn some coping mechanisms as to how to deal with that. And then, after you've been working on those issues for long enough, it's not that you won't ever have struggles anymore, because we all go through certain struggles, and anxiety is actually probably one of the bigger ones that I have. But you learn how to deal with it. You know that it comes in waves, it comes and then it goes. But, in society, we got to start addressing these problems. And I do think that mental health has become less taboo over the last 10 or 15 years or so. People are more willing to talk about it. But we can still make strides and we can still make improvements. So at the end of the day, I guess the thing that I'm saying for Attila is it's refreshing to hear like a different topic, a different angle, something that we all struggle with. Even if you're a person that, hasn't really struggled with mental health from an anxiety viewpoint or from a depression viewpoint, like, we all have general levels of anxiety. We all have things that make us anxious. We all have certain fears. We all have certain worries and anxieties and things that grip us. So we can all relate on that level. And in a day and age where there's constant distractions, your attention is getting pulled from social media, from news outlets, from all the fear-mongering surrounding the subject of COVID-19, from your frustrations of what the government is doing, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of information that is getting pushed to us, that's getting pushed down our throats. And again, I don't know if that's the anxiety that's been going on in Attila's life or Franz, whoever this anxiety is relating to, but we all have experienced it. We all go through it on a day-to-day level. I would tell people, that ask me about my anxiety is like, dude, I don't think there is a day that goes by where I don't experience anxiety or a symptom of OCD, or I might overthink a little bit, or then my perfectionism comes in, or the ADHD of having such a scattered brain, a very active mind. I feel like that's why I'm so all over the place, or I feel like in my head, I'm so all over the place on these Music Mondays, when really that's just how my mind works. I go from one subject to another, to another, to another, to another, and to another. So like, I have a song that's 3 minutes and 8 seconds, and I'm doing this reaction. And so a 3 minute and 8 second song, I end up doing a review that's like 20 minutes. It's like, bro, how could you talk for that long? That's just how my mind works. So just relating that all back to anxiety, I don't even know where I was going with that. But like, my point is that we all have certain issues, certain struggles. We all have had moments where we're more anxious than others. But we do have to be able to talk about it. We do have to come to terms with it. We do have to accept it. And we do have to build better habits that cause us to have the anxiety less. So I think the thing that I was saying is every day I have a symptom. Every day I experience a little bit of anxiety. But one area that I've really grown in and how I take care of my anxiety is I try my best to not fight it anymore. And I think that's because we deem it as a negative thing. We frame it in our minds as, oh, no, I should not be experiencing this thing, this anxiety. That's the thing that perpetuates it. That's the thing that makes the cycle much more vicious and much more harder to get out of. If you could just learn how to accept the anxiety, to approach it from a neutral state of mind and say, okay, I'm kind of anxious today, or I'm feeling kind of anxious right now. Just be kind of curious, like tap into that, to that feeling. I don't know if anxiety is an emotion. I think fear is an emotion. So anxiety is more like a sensation. It's something that happens in the body. Approach it from a state of curiosity and try and figure out why you feel anxious, but don't derive too many judgments or feelings or opinions about it, because when you do that, you give it more life. It's the same thing as fear in the mind. The more that you give into that fear, the more that you fear something, the bigger it becomes in your head. And I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Jordan Peterson. He's one of my more positive role models that I've had growing up, especially over the last, I don't even remember when I discovered him. It was probably back in 2016 or 17. So for the last 5 or 6 years, he kind of talks about this same subject of, how humans, like we have problems, we have issues, but we like to sweep things under the rug. But when you sweep things under the rug, say like if there's an argument or a discussion that you need to have with your spouse and you've kind of been thinking about it, the best thing for you is to probably just address it right away. Because if you keep sweeping things under the rug, well then when you finally look at that certain thing that you've been sweeping, there's a ginormous dragon that comes into your life, swoops in, and steals your possessions and your home and your sanity. And that's this, like, so relating that to humans is, and the idea here is, the message is to take care of your issues as soon as you possibly can, because there's a lot of things that go on throughout our day, but I would rather attack the problem head on so then it's done, it's severed, instead of letting the thing grow and manipulate and transform into a gigantic dragon. And I could have addressed the problem weeks ago, but now it's consuming me. It's the fear has set into my mind and has caused me all this anxiety. So I'm sorry that was a long rant, but that's just kind of the thing that, I think about when it comes to anxiety. Like I said, I've struggled with anxiety for a big portion of my life. I've struggled with anxiety more than depression. I've only really been depressed one time in my life. I'm very open to talk about anxiety because it's a huge issue. It's a huge, huge issue. Can we eradicate anxiety entirely? No, I don't think so. But we can get better at managing it. We can get better at handling it. And then in that, there's a sense of freedom that the anxiety doesn't hold much power over us like it used to. And that's a framing thing. That's a mature thing. That's a growth way of looking at it and handling it. So, I don't know. Great song. I really like the content. I wish he would have gone a little bit deeper in his lyrics because he was more so just saying how frustrating anxiety is and how it makes him feel. But, if you can become emotionally intelligent and articulate your emotions and what you're feeling, you are going to be so strong in this life. You are going to be able to break down a lot of your issues and understand where things are coming from and why they're making you feel a certain way. And then you can come from a logical point of view and work through your issues. And I think a lot of people just don't have that skills. Because it's just really hard to do, and it's something that you have to cultivate over time. But anyways, yeah, that's the review. Attila, I like the song. If this is the sort of direction that they will take in the future, I think it might suit them a little bit more. I don't know. I didn't even realize that they were still a band and still putting out music because I thought that they had just kind of fallen off and, hit a creative rut. And like I said, that's the death of any creative person, is if you hit a creative rut, man. Like, creative people got to create. And if they don't have that creative muscle flexing, they feel dead inside. And so that's a bad place to be. But I thought that this song, at least this song, I would like to go through the rest of the album, but this song was good. I thought it was a switch up for Attila, and that's probably what they need at this point in their career. So anyways, if you guys liked the video, if you liked what I'm talking about, if it made you think in a different way, if you got something of value from it, if you think that other people should listen and watch this video because they might get something out of it, please share the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. Please comment if you have any suggestions as to how I can make this channel better for you guys. If you have any music suggestions that I may have never heard of, please drop them in the comments below. I really enjoy doing this. I'm trying to create some sort of traction over here on my YouTube channel. Trying to do this every week. Haven't been paying too much attention to my podcast. Just haven't ran into anybody and set anything up. So for now, I've just been working on the Music Mondays and I fucking enjoy it. It's fun for me. So yeah, that's the episode. I hope to see you guys in the near future. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day. It's the Super Bowl, baby. Go Bengals.